Welcome to Money Talks with Valenese B. I am your host, Valenese B. Today we're going to talk about credit. I know, no one likes to talk about credit, but we cannot do anything, and I mean absolutely nothing without it. So the way I got into doing credit repair and credit consulting was because I went into a relationship with a 620 credit score. Not the greatest, but not the worst either. And I walked out of said relationship with a 480, 488. So I quickly learned that you cannot get anything. I couldn't even get a library card. Like, you cannot get anything with a credit score of 480 points. So I got on Facebook. I got into a bunch of credit groups. I got online. I went to the library. I got books. I studied. I read. I did just about anything that you can think of to do in order to build my credit. I had more time than I had money. So I educated myself on the importance of credit. I educated myself on how to build credit. And I also educated myself on how to keep good credit. So I wanted to talk to you all today about those things: building your credit, keeping your credit, and educating yourself on credit, why it's important, what you need it for, and how it can overall help you save money in the long run. So if you have a car, let's say you have a vehicle. If you have a vehicle and you need car insurance, we all need insurance. Your credit score determines whether or not you pay a higher premium. They can't deny you, like, oh God, you have bad credit, so you're not going to be able to come here. They can't deny you, but they can up your credit. They can up your premium amount that you pay. So if you have a better credit score, then you'll have a lower premium. That overall saves you money on your car insurance. So if you get a car, your interest rate is going to determine how much you pay for that vehicle. If you get a vehicle and your interest rate is, let's say, 4% versus 12%, you're going to pay 8% more overall in interest versus a person who has a 4% interest rate versus someone who has a 12% interest rate. So overall, you'll save more money in the long run. Let's see what else we need credit for. A job, okay? If you are wanting to excel in your career, if you want to make some real, like, big girl, big boy money, you have to have good credit to do that. If you ever read, just pull up Indeed and say you want to make 50K to 70K a year. I bet you at least 75% of those jobs are going to say must have good credit. So they don't want to take a chance. They don't want to take a risk on people with poor credit. They judge us. They judge us. They really do judge us. They think that we're irresponsible. They think that we're careless. And I get it. Some of us have. I know myself. I had a lot of things going on at the time. I was in an abusive relationship. I was in between jobs. I was going through a custody battle. My son was in juvenile. So I had a lot of things going on that was deterring me away from staying on top of my bills. So what my advice would be to you, if you have any life experiences going on, get someone to help you out. I get you an accountability partner, your parents, your children, someone who can assist you in keeping up with your bills. If you fall behind, borrow it. I know it sounds cliche and I know it sounds crazy because I've had bill collectors tell me, you can't just borrow it from your parents. It's like, no, I don't have it. Borrow it. I'm letting you guys know that now. If you have anyone that you can borrow that money from, even if it's just a minimum payment, borrow it and pay your bills. Paying your bills on time will help you. It will help you, for one, be more responsible because we're all adults, so we do need to pay our bills on time. But when you pay your bills on time, that does help you with your credit as well, especially those companies that report to the credit bureaus. So within educating yourself on credit, you need to know exactly what the scores, how the scores are based. 35% of your score, your credit score is your credit history. So a lot of people don't have credit because they don't have credit history. So someone who has bad credit, like myself, at one point I had bad credit. I was more eligible to get something than someone like my son who has no credit at all. Well, he has credit now, but when he turned 18, he had no credit at all. So for someone like him, they wouldn't take a chance on him at all. But with me, they were hesitant, okay? They were hesitant, but they would still take a chance on me versus him. So you want to make sure that you educate yourself on knowing the importance of credit. You want to also know what each category of your credit is, each breakdown. So you want to have a good mixture of credit: mortgage, car, credit cards. Another thing I would tell you all, if you can, get one major credit card versus all the small store charge cards, if you can. If you cannot, don't worry about that. Just start where you can and just build yourself up from there. One thing that I learned is that the lower you keep your payments, the better. So if you owe $500 on your credit card, pay it off if you can. If you can't, get it at least to 10%. They'll tell you 30%, but I'm telling you, get it to at least 10%. Let's see what else. If you're going to be late on anything, contact your creditors. Let them know what's going on. I know it's embarrassing. I've been there. I had to eat pie. I had to put my pride aside. I was basically crying on the phone, telling these people everything that happened and what I was going through. And it wasn't anything that I made up. It was all true. It was just embarrassing to have to regurgitate that information to a total stranger and to ask them for help and, put yourself at someone else's mercy. But it worked. They were understanding. At the end of the day, we're all humans. We all go through things. They were understanding. They were helpful. They had specialized programs for people that were in situations similar to mine. If you're hospitalized, they have a program for that. If you lose your job unexpectedly, they have programs for that. Like, just contact them and let them know what your situation is. You can go into full detail if you want. If not, hey, that's fine too. But just let them know what's going on instead of being late on your payments. Late payments literally can crush your score up to 100 points. So if you're already sitting at 400 points, can you really afford to let them come down another 100 points? No, we cannot. We cannot. So it's 2021. We are building our credit. We are keeping our credit good, okay? So to keep your credit good, pay your bills on time. If you cannot pay your bills on time, contact someone to ask them to pay your bills on time. If you cannot get help in that arena, then contact the creditors, let them know what's going on, and see if they can help you avoid getting a late payment. So the importance of credit overall is to save you money in the long run. So we all like to save money. At least we should at this point in our lives. I know I like to save money. So if you want to save money, you definitely want to make sure that you have good credit. So I know there's people who are like, I have cash. What do I need credit for? I'm going to give you an example. I met a couple at a barbecue, and they had friends who were trying to put their mother in a nursing home. And mom had money. She had all the money in the world. They ran a credit check. She was denied. And so they're like, but we have money. They're like, that's great. We need her to pass this credit check. So they literally had to build mom's credit up in order to get her approved to come into a nursing home, which is similar to an apartment complex. So if you want to live a better life, if you want to live a great life, and when you get older, if you want to be able to go to a nursing home, you have to make sure you have good credit. So credit is key to a lot of things. It makes your life a lot easier. I feel good knowing I can go into anywhere and apply for something and get approved for it. That is probably one of the best feelings in the world to me right now, because it was a time where I couldn't do that. It was a time where I only wished that I could do that. It was a time where I prayed, I want to be able to do that, God. I promise if you get me to that point, I will not mess my credit up. And I am still holding true to that. I pay my bills before time. Like, all my bills for June are already paid. For one, I'm kind of flighty, so I forget to pay my bills. That's neither here nor there. But be better than me, people. So I pay my bills ahead of time because I don't like anything hanging over my head. I get kind of wrapped up in my work and just things I have going on. My alert will go off on my phone, and I'll be like, okay, let me go pay that. And I'll literally go to do something else. So I just pay my bills a month in advance. Auto pay is a good way to stay on top of your credit as well. Just have it. If you have a certain amount that you make, if you're working a regular 9 to 5, and you know every 2 weeks you're going to bring home $1,000, just have them take out your money on auto pay. I mean, take out your bill on auto pay. If you know that you're going to make $1,000 every 2 weeks, just have them take your money out of your account, put it on auto pay. So a credit hack, I'll give you guys a credit hack. A credit hack that you can use to build your credit is Self-Lender. SELF Lender, LENDER. So with Self-Lender, what you do is you pay a $9 administration fee, and they loan you basically $500. Or you could pick which one you want. The one I chose was $500 over a 12-month period. So I paid $35 a month, or $48 a month for 12 months. And then at the end of that 12 months, they give you the money back less the administration fee. So they report to each credit bureau, all 3 credit bureaus. So in order for you, if you don't have credit, or if you have struggling credit right now and you want a hack, just something to kind of help you start establishing good credit, I highly recommend Self. It's something that I use myself personally. It's something that I am currently getting ready to use again, because I am at my 12 months and they're getting ready to release my funds to me next month. When they release my funds to me, I am going to do the program all over again, and I'm going to use that same $500 that they basically loaned me to do it all over again. So that's a good way to build credit. Make sure you have that money set aside. Borrow it if need be to pay it. But yes, absolutely, Self-Lender is a great tool. That's a great credit hack to use in order to build your credit. So I wanted to jump into a couple other ways that you can increase your credit score. You can become an authorized user on someone else's credit card. So these people have to have good credit history. They have to have high balances, and they have to make, obviously pay their bills on time. So my son actually became an authorized user on my mother's credit card. So what happened was, she ordered a card for him. She had it delivered to her address. She didn't even tell him about the card until they were able to sit down and talk, and she was able to explain to him what he needed to do and what he not needed to do. So she gave him the card for the weekend. I believe he charged up about $200 worth of items. And so when the statement came out, she had him pay the bill, and the next month his credit score went from a literal 0 to about a 550. And that was because he had inherited her credit stability. So he had the time frame that she had on that card, and he had the payment history that she had on that card as well. So when I got my credit card, I also added him as an authorized user, and I signed him up for Self as well. So between him being on 2 credit cards and Self-Lender, he went from a 0 to a 611. Like, his credit score was almost higher than mine. And this was done within less than a year. So it is very, very doable to get your credit score raised, especially if you don't have any credit at all versus someone who may have challenging credit. So if your credit is challenged, you can still become an authorized user on someone's account if they'll allow you, and let them know like, hey, I don't need anything but your longevity and your payment history. I don't need the card. I don't need to make any purchases. I just need that leg up. So another way that you can do, if you have challenging credit, another way that you can build your credit is by disputing errors on your credit report. I don't care if they misspelled your name wrong. It's an error. Get it off. Get it off. Addresses, old jobs, old phone numbers. Just clean up your report. If they say that you were 41 days past due on a bill and you were only 28 days past due, hey, that's an error. Dispute it. I also do not recommend that you dispute anything online. When you make disputes online, you give up certain rights. So let's do this the old-fashioned way. Get your pen, get your paper, get your pad, get your computer, your laptop, your desktop, however you do you. Get that, type out a letter, sign it, send it in with a copy of your identification, and let them know like, hey, this is not my error, and make them prove it to you. Make them prove that you were actually 41 days past due versus 28 days past due. So with all of that being said, I hope that you have found this informative. I hope that you all can take some of these tips and increase your credit score, which will overall increase your life. You will have a much better life. You'll be able to breathe easier. Life really does start to begin with good credit. I highly recommend the advice that I gave you as far as self goes. I highly recommend becoming an authorized user. These are things that I know for a fact that will work. I also know for a fact that getting rid of errors on your credit report will also help increase your score. If you are getting anything deleted off, you want to make sure you have things being added on. So don't go willy-nilly and just dispute everything and get all your your life deleted off your credit report, because that will also damage your score. So if you're going to go in full throttle and try to get everything deleted, please make sure that you have something added on there that shows a positive payment history. This has been Money Talks with Valenese B. I am your host, Valenese B. I hope to see you all soon.